Alright, so today we're at the shop. We're going to be filming Bill's updated toolbox tour.
So what's going on, guys? This is Bill, back again for an updated toolbox tour. You can see I got some new stuff. Got the locker all set up here. And let's just jump right into it. Alright, so down here, this is my top drawer. Got all my 3/8 and 1/2 inch drive and 3/4 drive sockets. I got an extension, 3/4, I got two of them, two big ratchets. I always love the feeling of these things. You could like club someone with this, but I got that. Then we got some kind of specialized non-fitting stuff, just a shallow 36 mil, spark plug tap. We have the rear wheel bearing tool. I think we went over in the first tour for like the Mazdas and the Ford Edge and all that stuff. This thing comes in handy. You got these deep flare nut sockets. These are great from Snap-on. I've got them in a few different sizes. They're great for like power steering lines and, you know, anything with a right angle hex fitting on it. And then I got all kinds of different spark plug sockets and stuff. This one's for the Mini Cooper. I think it's a 14 12 point. Yep, real deep. And then we got just the regular 5/8 SK. This one's real old. The rubber gone out of it. Then we have my favorite one, which is the Snap-on magnetic 5/8. I use this on every spark plug job. Thing works great. We got the 13/16 or yeah 13/16 Snap-on spark plug socket. And then we have a whole assortment here of, you know, odds and ends. You got the 22 mil impact swivel 1/2 inch drive, 22 mil impact swivel and 3/8 drive. Got your little adapter for putting it on a screw gun, 1/4 inch quick connect screw guns. Got a cool old military Snap-on crow's foot. Bruce gave me this. This thing's really cool. What else we got? We have my busted 1/2 drive to 3/8 adapter. I put this on an impact and it just gave the ghost up. This is just a Armstrong, so junk. Moving right along, we got the set of gear wrench 3/8 drive swivel sockets. Back here it's kind of tough to see, but we got the triple squares Snap-on 1/2 inch drive deep impact sockets, 1/2 inch drive swivel impact sockets, 1/2 inch drive chrome deep metric. Use these guys a whole bunch. Run along the bottom here we have the 12-point axle nut sockets and stuff for Toyotas and BMWs. Then my whole urea with some Snap-on thrown in deep impact socket set. Got that a few years ago. Goes from 8 to 36 millimeter. We have the more Torques, which are still cool, but haven't used them yet. So someday, I know the day will come, I'll be ready. These are great. I don't know if you guys have ever seen tap sockets, but I use the hell out of these. My tap wrench is busted, so I use those every time. Shallow metric chrome 1/2 inch drive sockets. Shallow metric impact impact sockets. We got the turbo socket set from Blue Point. This is pretty nice. It goes from 3/8 up to 19, and it has the metric and standard sizes. So when it gets real rounded out, you can, you know, 13 will go down to 1/2, and then down to 12. You can just keep going down if you need to, which is cool. Then we got the Ford drive shaft socket. I guess these are really for head bolts or something. Allegedly, there's a whole set of these out there, but and so I use this 12 mil 12 point for Ford drive shafts. It works real good. We got some old Irwin turbo sockets, only a few sizes that came in that set. These are cool. These are like the Craftsman Universal Spline Drive. Those will fit squares, you know, pentagons, whatever you throw at it. So actually I've used these a bunch of times for taking down spare tires, customers' vehicles. And then we'll get to the ratchets and stuff later. We got impact extensions 3/8, the Wobble Plus snap-on chrome extensions. We got the deep bowl end Allens, metric and standard. I said deep, I meant long, but you can see they're pretty substantial. Use those a lot on Euro cars and stuff. We have this guy, the super shallow 3/8 drive snap-on. I find myself using the sockets a lot more than the ratchet, but you know, it's good just to have around just in case.
I did use this on the diff the other day to check the diff on that Mazda.
Oh, really?
This fit in there perfectly.
Oh, there you go.
Couldn't get anything else in it.
So yeah, I have used it a few times. It's just not an everyday thing, obviously. Then up here we have, these are some of my favorite sockets, the 3/8 drive universal
expensive as all
metric sockets. Oh yeah. I mean, I've worn out like just about every one of these so far. I use them so much. Shallow impact 3/8 sockets, these are great too. And I have the matching deep set over here. It goes 8 to 24. It does skip a bunch of different sizes, notably 22, which is unfortunate. That's half the reason I got this 3/8 swivel over here. So we got those. We have the standard shallow chrome 3/8 drive snap-on sockets. I don't use standard too much, but I have it for when I need it. The torque sockets snap-on. Believe it or not, I like them, but I'm not too thrilled with them, just because if you look at the T20, on the smaller ones you see they kind of get twisted up. I don't know if the camera can pick that up or not. Then I got a semi-deep metric and standard impact 3/8 drive sockets. Snap-on, these I got a long time ago, and you can see I've beaten the shit out of them. And then sockets, we got shallow, semi-deep, and deep snap-on metric sockets, 8 to 19. Doesn't skip any sizes. Then also I do have deep standard Craftsman sockets over here. I forgot to touch on that. So I have deep metrics and deep standards, and then I have the Husky deep 12 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are these right here?
Yeah, I was
come in handy.
Yeah, I don't use deep 12-point chromes a whole lot, but you know, I saw Bruce has the Husky ones, and I actually figured I'd give them a shot.
$20, you can't go on.
Yeah, I'm actually very impressed with them. They do hold up pretty well. And then I got some crow's feet, SK, metric and standard, shallow Craftsman standard sockets down there. So now we'll get to the ratchets and all that good stuff. First we got the little oil filter claw, and then we got the big claw, just twisting off oil filters. And we got a little mishmash of little extensions and stuff here, Craftsman, SK, half-inch drive extensions.
Show them the new guy.
Oh yeah, check this out.
Just purchased. This is actually pretty cool.
So this is like a 100 tooth or however many tooth snap-on quarter drive body. The round head flex goes all the way back and forth, but it's got a 3/8 drive on it. And I've actually used this a few times. I got this on Monday. I've used it a few times since then. I'm actually really liking it so far. It's like the perfect size for just little stuff. Then we have another quarter drive body with a 3/8 drive on it. I've had this for a whole bunch of years and it works great. Got my favorite ratchet of all time, first snap-on tool I ever got. He's been through hell, but he's still working great. This is my go-to ratchet for 3/8. And then is got the longer flex head quick release version of that. This one I use a whole lot too. And then we've got a couple of the real big 3/8 drive extra longs. This is the FLL80, and I think this is FLLF80 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So these guys I use a lot for things like belt tensioners and all that kind of stuff. You know, using this one in conjunction with these extra shallow sockets for belt tensioners usually works very well. Next up, we have just my old Craftsman beater ratchet. I use this pretty much only for oil changes, but this was one of the first tools I ever bought with my own money. Regular Craftsman 3/8 drive. We got the snap-on F0. I think we went over this the last time. It's the toothless bearing style ratchet, 0 degrees it takes to ratchet it, so that's cool. Then moving on to half-inch drive. I'll lay them on top of the box so you can see them better. I have just your standard length half drive, the longer one, the really long one, and then two different breaker bars. I thought this was pretty neat. I'll show you guys what's going on here. So if you look at these two breaker bars,
It's about $1,000 in ratchets and bars right here. That's
yeah,
nuts.
no joke. One's comfort grip, one's not. But if you look at the ends of them, you can see that this one's offset, I think that's 45 degrees.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yep. So sometimes, you know, you got your socket on there and you can't quite find the right spot. Between these two, especially with a 12-point socket, you can make something work. So I like having this around. This came as part of a set. I did not buy this separately, so I don't know the cost. It's probably the same as the regular half-inch breaker bar.
I think those are like $200.
Yeah, like 180 or 200. Then all the way in the back here, we have some nice long extensions. This one, this one I just picked up from Cornwell. It's a half-inch drive on this end, and then 3/8 drive on the other end. It's real good for bell housing bolts and stuff that's far away that you want to use the impact on. This one is impact rated, and although I think the snap-on one like Bruce has may not be.
It is not.
So, not to say you can't use an impact with it, but,
That's all I've ever used on it.
but you know, this one they say you're allowed to, not that it matters.
What was the cost on that?
The sticker is still on it. It was $83.29, and the part number for anyone who is interested is Echo Alpha 3236 Bravo. And
That's a very good tool to have, especially on your rear-wheel drive vehicles, the bell housing bolts. Once you get your drive shaft down, your exhaust out of the way, you can reach right in there and get those bell housing bolts right out.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this top drawer, and we'll move on to the next one.
Alright guys, as you can see, that's just drawer one, so this is going to be a lengthy video, but it's going to be an in-depth, more in-depth than the last one, so just bear with us and you guys will see a lot of cool tools, a lot of new things, and obviously things you might not have never seen before, and you can go ahead and purchase yourself to make your job that much easier. So just follow along, and you know, even if you have to, stop it and come back later. Fine by us.
And one quick thing I do want to say is that just because I have it and I use it, that doesn't mean everybody needs it. And I know a lot of people are, you know, they don't want to spend a huge amount of money like I do and get every tool that you'll ever need to fix anything. But, you know, just base what you buy off of what you do. You know, some people only fix Fords, so then they should buy, you know, Ford-specific tools. They don't need Volkswagen tools or Chevy tools or anything. So just keep that in mind.
Keep in mind too, we are an independent shop, so we do need a little bit of everything because we work on everything. Now, also too, I want to mention that I foresee it in the comments. This guy's crazy. He's stupid. All this money he could have spent on other things. This is his choice. This is what he does. Like I said in the other videos, he eats, sleeps, and breathes turning wrenches. So this is his passion. This is his desire. You know, any of you guys there that have a hobby, you might be building a car in your garage. Well, I think that's stupid. You know what I mean? You could be spending that money on, you know, whatever.
Groceries.
But exactly, you know, because everyone's got their own preference and their own hobby and things they want to do. So just keep that in mind before you go bashing people in the comment section that, you know, people have different aspirations and people choose to spend their money how they want to spend it. So.
And yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is my hobby and my job, so I have no problem, you know, spending every penny that I can on it. And, you know, just because I have all this doesn't mean I don't respect the guys that have like a Harbor Freight toolbox and Pittsburgh tools. I mean, there are guys that have been turning wrenches for 50 years that are way better than I'll ever be, and they have a toolbox the size of a lunchbox. So it's just all about personal preference.
Yep. All right, let's get back into the drawers.
Alright, so this is drawer number 2. We got all my pry bars up here, snap-on, the old square handle style. And then this guy I broke, and so they replaced them with a black one, which is just fine. They all have the nice little hammer cap on the end of them, so you can smack them. Strike cap. So those are cool. Then I have the Excalibur, the real big guy,
Oh, we got a pan for
54-inch.
this one.
Yep.
Hold on.
Look at the size of
You
that
had to
thing.
pull that one out of a stone, fellas.
So obviously, this thing speaks for itself. We all know what we need a 54-inch pry bar for.
Little ladies.
Of course. Then we got the snap-on chisels. I'm sure these are some kind of rebrand, but the chisel scrapers, they also have a striking cap on the end of them. And then I keep them sharp, and you can scrape gaskets off or split engines and transmissions apart and stuff. Drive it in there like a fox wedge or whatever they call it. Then we have the O2 sensor wrench. This thing's great. Part number is Sierra Whiskey Romeo. I guess that would be 1, not I. But this is just an O2 sensor wrench. It's got a flex head and a bent handle, so it gets into all kinds of tight spots. Then we have the golden snap-on tire pressure gauge. This thing's pretty cool. It's this is a Christmas present from a few years ago. I don't use it too much, and I'll show you why later, but you know, it's a cool tool. Very accurate. Then we got my air chisel bits over here. Got your little short hammer bit with the little dish in it for blasting studs out and stuff. And just your chisel. I try to keep sharp, but it keeps getting smashed. You know, all kinds of cutters and stuff. You have the snap-on set that's in a pouch. This one has, you know, the same chisel, sheet metal cutter. I don't really know what this is for, but you know, all kinds of different stuff. Air hammer is a very useful tool to have around. Then we have the torque sticks. That's I like this set a lot, especially because you can use sockets on the end of them, so you can put deep, shallow, metric, standard, whatever you want on there. It doesn't matter. And this, I find that pretty much these three are the ones that you need on a day-to-day basis. I mean, this I think is a 160 or 145 or something, 140. So you don't use that too much, and this one's 65, so that one you use sometimes. Then we have a magnetic pickup tool. These are great. I drop stuff all day long, so it's good to have a bunch of them laying around. Long hook and pick set, the Instinct handles on them. Then I have the Craftsman or Ullman or whatever these are. I guess these are the Craftsman ones. Same thing, just with a better handle with the snap-ons. We have a old set of feeler gauges and wire gappers and stuff. These are my grandpa's. I mean, they're ancient history, but you know, I still use them here and there. We got all the tools for my air tools and stuff, all different wrenches, Allen wrenches and stuff. This is actually a clutch slave cylinder release for the hydraulic line going to it, for like the old Camaros and stuff. Old tire pressure gauges, interior tools. Some of you guys will recognize the, there we go, the Ford radio tool and stuff. You put that in there, you spread them apart and pull the Ford radios out. Just a little sharp, twisty bit there, little hooks. We got the flywheel holder. This thing's great. You know, I have a snap-on one, but you know, all kinds of different companies make basically the same tool. If you're torquing down torque converter bolts or clutch bolts or flywheel bolts or anything, this thing is extremely useful.
Or even to spin it to get the bolts out.
Yeah, you can obviously spin the flywheel around to get to the bolts in the first place. That's another good point. You got your plastic trim tools and stuff.
Non-marring.
Non-marring. This one I found in a customer's car. And this orange set I bought on Amazon for I think 10 bucks. I'll try to find the part number for that kit, but I'm not sure. But these are just good because they don't scratch, and they're pretty strong. You can kind of get in there and pop panels off. See, moving over this way, we have the Chevy alignment tool. A lot of you guys were asking in the comments about the part number on that. It's Whiskey Alpha, I forget G, M1. Golf. Golf, that's it. I always forget that.
Alpha,
Golf, Mike 1. Yeah.
Whiskey
I'm working
Alpha,
on it.
Golf, Mike 1.
Wag 'em. So, you know, that's that part number. If any of you guys are interested, this thing works pretty good. Obviously, those things get pretty rusty, though, so you got to be careful it doesn't go flying off on you with the breaker bar. We got a mirror. It's your basic Craftsman square mirror. This is a nice set of chisels and punches here from Snap-on.
Expensive, but they are nice.
Yeah, probably too expensive for what they are, but
I think they were 3 and change.
2 and change
Two
for sure.
and change?
Yeah. So they're nice. They're little hand protectors, so you don't hurt your little fingers while you're smashing away with your hammer. And you can see I use them a good amount. This thing's great. This is I think this is actually a Snap-on automatic center punch. So if you're drilling a hole or something, you can line this up and put a little pock mark in it so your drill bit doesn't walk on you. And over here we have a whole assortment of different Craftsman and Mac and whatever else chisels and punches. I got those, just a handful of them at a flea market for like $5. These are good. These are LISLE Jiffy Tight tools for fuel and transmission lines. Actually, just transmission lines. I don't know why I said fuel lines. I find this design is a lot better than the thumb wheel style, because with this, it opens up obviously, and then you have a little bit more leverage to actually get in there and hold that clip open. So I find that this is a better design.
There was once or twice I had to use those in place of mine because you do have the leverage.
Then you have just a little crowbar looking thing. This is actually pretty useful. I use this to adjust drum brakes and stuff. Take the little hole out and you can adjust the adjuster wheel and stuff. This is nice, a stretch belt tool. Not a crazy amount of stretch belts out there yet, but they are on Subarus or on Mazdas. I'm sure everyone's seen them on Mazdas for AC belts. So there's going to be more of those coming, I think, in the future. I got my old tubing cutter. This thing's getting pretty worn out. I may have to get another one, but you know, I think it's Imperial brand. I like how this one's really small, so if you're working on the car, you're not fighting with this giant, you know, banana-sized thing trying to spin it around. So that one's nice. I got the old coin-style plug gapper. This I just picked up at AutoZone for like $1. We got another magnetic pickup tool. This was actually in a junk car. I think it was in a BMW or some kind of German car, and it was just in the spare tire compartment. So I don't know if this comes with those normally or what the deal is there, but the car was getting junked and I saw this and I took it. I use it all the time. A couple different Torx drivers, T20 and SK, and then 25 and T15 and Craftsman. Drum brake tool for the hold down springs. This is a nice one. This is a real old one too. I got from my friend Fuzzy. Gear wrench battery terminal tool. We got the snap-on hose picks or cotter pin picks or whatever kind of picks you want to use them for. I got the long guy and then the little guy with a slightly different bend on it. I never used to use these too much, but now I find myself using them a lot more. Then we got, now we're in the assorted screwdriver area, so bear with me. We got a stubby flathead, stubby Phillips, number 2. I've lost this. This is one of only 3 tools I've ever lost and didn't get back, so I just had to buy another one. Old crappy number 1 Phillips screwdrivers, a couple different ones. Flathead, this one I kind of smash on and pry with because it's a cheapo. This one I keep sharp for scraping off stubborn gasket material and stuff. So this one, you know, just sharpen on the grinder, and I only use it for little pieces. Another little screwdriver, fuel line disconnect tools. Everyone's got those. These are just like the cheap LISLE brand. You know, you can get them at Sears for $10 or wherever. These are really cool. You guys might get a kick out of this. They're beryllium copper flathead screwdrivers. I like to use these.
I don't think you guys can see it, but it's actual copper.
Yeah, well, it's beryllium copper, because copper by itself is, you know, very ductile and malleable, so you can bend it. And this is rigid as heck. I mean, I can barely bend it. So this is sort of like a non-marring, softer prying screwdriver is what I use this for like popping off valve covers or intake manifolds or whatever else. Cylinder heads maybe, but maybe not. So this is a good tool. I have a big guy like that and a little one. I got these from my friend Daryl. He just had them laying around and he just gave them to me, which is really cool. Made in the USA. Then we got the new, well, I don't know if they're new, but they're MILWAUKEE non-conductive screwdrivers for working in your house and stuff so you don't get zapped. They're rated up to 1,000 volts, allegedly. I'm not going to try that out for myself, but you know, those are nice. I like using them. Let's see, we got a couple different gear wrench, really long screwdrivers. Number 2 Phillips, you know, sometimes you just need to get down into places like that. I also have a snap-on set, which you'll see later. And that just ruined the whole equilibrium here, but that's alright. This one I used to use a lot until I broke it. I found this in a customer's car. It was jammed up against the serpentine belt. So then I just found it and I was using it to pry on stuff and whatever, but now it's busted, so I don't use it. Got a box cutter back there, X-Acto knife. This is an old axle out of a forklift. I usually use this as like a giant drift punch, and this can shatter, so it's not that smart, but it works pretty good, so I keep it around. Got all the little socket bits in this little container of some kind. You know, all kinds of different sizes for your hex drivers and all that stuff, so those are good. Don't use them a heck of a lot, but they are good to keep handy. Got the old Craftsman Pro screwdrivers. Had these things a long time. You can see I wore the gold off of a couple of them, so those are really nice screwdrivers. I do like them a lot. I still use them sometimes. I've got the nice snap-on panel poppers, the long and the short one, so those are nice. Then we got the Instinct handle, the flatheads on the Phillips. Those I've had for years too, pretty much when the Instincts first came out. And you can try as hard as you want to keep them clean, but they just never look the same. Like, I don't think I ever used that one, and you can tell. Next up, we got a set all the way in the back corner of gear wrench files. I got the half moon, the triangle, the rat tail, and then the flat file back here. So, you know, I'm not doing too much filing around here, but they are handy to keep around. And I think that does it for drawer number 2. Alright, so next drawer number 3 is going to be power tools and other assorted things. Got a few Milwaukee tools. Big fan of their impacts. You know, this is the 1/2-inch drive. This thing has got boatloads of torque. It's good for doing like changing spares in the parking lot or something like that.
You know, that's not their newest one.
Now they have a new one?
I thought that was their newest, biggest one. There's one bigger than that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So, bullshit.
Yeah, right? Yeah, but this thing's great. I use this and I use this all the time. You can see he's all dirty. This is the 3/8 version of that. It's all 18-volt stuff. I don't have any of the 12-volt. I got the heat gun. This is new. I just got this a week or two ago. This is great for doing shrink tubing and, you know, popping out dents and plastic bumper covers and stuff. It gets real hot real fast. It does kind of, you know, blow through the battery pretty quick, but, you know, these Milwaukee, what are they, 5 amp hour packs, I'd say they're some of the best on the market. Got their little charge indicator up here. So next we got this flashlight, which just kind of came free with that kit. We got some Milwaukee drill bits I got at Home Depot. One of the earlier sets I got. I've broken a whole bunch of them. They're all worn out, but these black oxide bits cut really well for like the first 3 or 4 times you use them, and then they're just dull and that's it. Over here we have the left-hand drill bits with the extractors. If I can get the fucking thing open. Maybe I'm opening it wrong, I don't know.
No, it's a pull up on this.
I'll pull up on that.
I think. I don't know, maybe not.
Oh,
actually,
live on camera. I broke it. There you go. So that's that. You know, just a few different sizes, left-hand bits. I have used these. I find that these, the longer tape, like with the longer taper on them, they break less often than the shorter ones that I'll show you later. So I really do like these a lot. Now that I figure out how to close it, there we go. Then we have the, what are these, the titanium or something, Blue Point drill bits. I've broken a few, you know, broken a lot of them actually, and I've replaced a whole bunch. And they're pretty good, you know, they don't cut as well as the Irwin ones, which I'll show you in a minute, but they do cut pretty well. And this was relatively cheap, it was like $100 or something. Next we got some C-clamps, all different sizes. I find I use the biggest one the most for brake jobs and stuff like that. You got the little extension for your Dremel. I haven't used that yet, but I'm going to find a use for it. We got the handle for the Milwaukee drill, which is over here. So that goes on like this. So that way if you're really like reefing on something, you got a handle to hold on to it with. And while it's out, I'll show you. This is the 18-volt cordless drill from Milwaukee. Really, really like this tool. We all know how a cordless drill works. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it's a great drill. Let's see. Along now, I'll show you these Irwin drill bits. These are phenomenal. My one complaint with them is that these tiny little ones, like these are warranted lifetime from the next size up from 1/4 inch all the way up. And we all know those are the ones that are never going to break anyway. But these things cut unbelievably well. You can drill really quickly with them. But I will say the little ones, while they do cut great, they do shatter pretty frequently. So just be prepared if you pick this setup. We got the battery tester, the old toaster. Thing works great. I don't use it too much because we have a shop tester, but I keep this around just for my own use. We got the snap-on 14 4-volt Sawzall. That's nice. You got a blowgun. You got this really cool magnetic pickup tool with the little Chinese fingers inside. And I think this is 5-pound magnet or something on this thing. And it has a little light in it, which I don't know if it even works anymore. But
that's working.
Alright, yeah, so you can illuminate what you're picking up.
Probably one of the cheapest tools in the Snap-on truck. It's like $20.
Yeah. Got a hose cutter for cutting hose. You know, you're making new trans lines or whatever. You got this handy. I got some long drill bits for. I got these for drilling out broken I think they were cat bolts or something on the back of a manifold on a Ford. They're just like DeWalt, cheap Home Depot, whatever, but they work. What else do we got? We have the Astro. Oh, he's kind of buried. Hold on, let me dig him out. The Astro cable hose clamp tool. This one's great. This one hasn't broken. I know some guys that have like the Mayhew versions, like I think Bruce has.
Yeah.
And those I've heard break semi-frequently if you're not careful with them. This one I've used a whole bunch and it has not broken yet. It's cool too because it's ratcheting, so you can kind of just lock it down, it'll hold, and then you have your little thumb release back here.
That's probably one of the most handy tools.
Yeah.
Very, very handy tool for getting like lower radiator clamps.
Yeah, stuff that's in a really crappy spot, you know. You don't need it until you need it, is what I say. Moving over, we got my timing light. You know, obviously it's 2017, you don't use that too much, but I do use it here and there. It's a real cool old ray gun looking unit I got from my friend Marty. Then we have my little torch for like your map gas and butane and stuff. This thing's cool. This was pretty expensive though. I got it for like 60 bucks or something. But you have your regulator back here and all kinds of different features. It has a trigger lock so it'll stay on if you want. I think it's this.
It's really good for heating up small bolts and stuff, or maybe even like bleeder valves and stuff like that. That's what it really comes in handy for.
You know what I use it the most for is melting the nylon out of nylox for sway bar links, because we all know how annoying it is to get the nuts off of some of those ball and socket sway bar links, and if you melt the nylon out with that, they'll come right out usually. Then we got the snap-on, I don't know if this is the quarter horse or the half horsepower cutoff wheel or whatever it is, but this thing is, I've used a whole bunch, it works great. Got this real nice Ingersoll Rand big heavy duty air hammer, long barrel. I use this thing all the time for all kinds of different stuff. Holds up great.
We did a video on that one a while back if you guys want to check it out. It's a very, very good air hammer for the price.
Yes it is. We have all kinds of different like cookie discs and the finger discs I call them and stuff for cleaning aluminum and steel and all that stuff. Got some brass bore brushes. These are pretty cool and useful for cleaning out like brake calipers and stuff.
Yeah, it's actually a very helpful hint, guys. If you're cleaning surfaces of stuff and it's aluminum, never use this style cookie disc here. Use the rubber fingers. These are actually longer, but they work better as they get smaller, because what you'll do is you'll take away from the material on the surface, and you know you won't have a very, what is it, like a flush fit like you normally would, because the aluminum, those cookie discs will take the aluminum right off.
Yeah, that is a good point. Your goal isn't to take material like the aluminum off, it's to take all the crud and dirt off of there. So, you know, these have their use, and I do use the cookie disc all the time.
Oh yeah,
just not
absolutely.
for that. This finally crapped out. This was my old Harbor Freight angle die grinder. The bearing in it is completely shot, and
I
then the
bet
thing
you got your $8 worth though.
I got my $8 out of it. I think this lasted 4 or 5 years. So.
So people want to talk shit about Harbor Freight. If you need it in a pinch, it can save you.
Oh yeah. Then I love this guy. This is the Ingersoll Rand. I think it's the 35 Max is the part number.
Just don't run water through it, and you'll love it.
Exactly. Yeah, if you keep it nice and oiled and everything. I mean, this is perfect for front end brake jobs. You know, you name it, crank bolts on Subarus and stuff. I mean, it's a killer. I like this thing a lot. I use it every day. I've only had it for maybe 6 months or so, and you can see it's already pretty beat up. We got an old Mac air hammer. It still doesn't work. Still haven't gotten anything to fix it. An old
Didn't
crappy.
work from the day you got it.
No, it did.
Right off the truck.
Then I broke it. Got a 7.2 volt screw gun. I use this thing all the time for like underdash stuff, for taking off those plastic lug nut covers on GMs, and you know, pretty much is my go-to screw gun.
When you switch to Milwaukee, I'll be buying that for me.
We got the snap-on air ratchet.
One of my favorite air ratchets.
Yeah, I got
love
this
the trigger.
years ago. Yeah, it's a great trigger. You can redirect the exhaust so it's not blowing in your face or whatever. So you can put that anywhere you want. I've used the crap out of this. I like them a lot. Right next to them is the bigger, better version, the electric kind. Was not sold on this until I actually got one and used it, and let me tell you, it's like a life-changing tool. I mean, you don't have an airline to trip over or anything like that, and it's not super torquey, but it can, I don't remember what it's rated for, but you can really reef on it and crack stuff loose. I think that's the electric torque it puts out, but you can, I don't know. I use it to break stuff loose all the time, and it's real nice.
Yeah, that's one thing I never knew. Call me stupid, but you know, even when you're not using the trigger, you can actually use this manually as a ratchet, and I didn't know that until I started messing with it. I thought it would break it, but no, it doesn't. It works great. I love it.
This is the Crud Thug. Use this for cleaning up all kinds of rusty stuff on front end work, pretty much like tie rods and all that stuff.
Another very expensive tool.
Yep.
They're like foreign change.
Yeah, I got this one from Bruce, and I didn't even buy the snap-on replacement disc. You can pick this disc up at Home Depot for like $10 or less or whatever it is. So that's what I keep on there. The handle's gone. I'll never see it again, but that's fine. Moving along, we got the 2235i or whatever the designation is. This thing is a beast. This is like, you know, the lug nuts, axle nuts. You can take anything off with this thing and put it back on. So I like this guy.
I love my 725 more than anything, but if I had to choose, like if I had two guns to pick, if I didn't have the 725, it'd be that gun. It's just the power to weight ratio is really nice. It's a very light gun.
And this here is my first ever impact gun. It's one of the old, I guess it's magnesium, or I guess magnesium housing impact from Ingersoll Rand. I got the boot. It still works, still kicking ass, and the only problem with this one is that it's loud as all get out, so it kind of bothers everybody when you use it. Then we got the Husky cordless drill. I keep this little wire brush on the end of it for cleaning out like wheel bearing holes and stuff like that, thermostat holes sometimes if you're gentle with it. And this is a pretty good air drill. You know, I don't do much drilling with it since I have the Milwaukee cordless drill, but it's good to have around. And last we got the 14.4 snap-on 3/8 impact, and this thing, you know, takes a beating every single day. I have had it rebuilt a couple times since I've owned it, but you know, it's pretty reliable, does the job pretty well. And then we have the snap-on pneumatic impact, which I don't use very often at all anymore, the IM31, just because I have the Milwaukee and the snap-on cordless. And I think that is it for the power tools. Alright, so this is the pliers drawer. You got the riveter, Blue Point riveter, use that all the time. Channel locks, you got these little baby guys, they're pretty cool. Don't really use them, but they're fun to look at. Snap-on channel locks. PWZ ones, I actually just wore out the teeth in my old one, so I got a warranted new set.
Snap-on did warranty them for the teeth being worn out on these, so keep that in mind, guys. If you, I don't know if all dealers will honor that, but ours did, and that's why we love them so much.
Exactly. Then you got the Nipex Cobras, and then the hose clamp Cobras. You've seen those in another video. They're nice. I use them every day. Wire strippers, just Craftsman, crapo guys. Blue Point pliers, the long needle nose with the long cutters. The cutters aren't great, but I really like these long needle nose. Got the scissor pliers with the little scissor joint in the middle for down in hard to reach spots. Hose clamp pliers, or not hose clamp, hose pliers. I use this one for spark plug boots, and this is the gear wrench scissor version of those. We got the exhaust hanger pliers. These are great for popping out those rubber hangers on the exhaust.
Oh, you just bought that?
Yep, just got that not too long ago. And then the Van plier section over here, you know, Bruce hooked me up with a whole bunch of different pairs of those. You got my favorite ones, the big ones, medium, tiny little ones.
Now, I want your honest opinion. What do you honestly feel about the 8-inch Van pliers? Like, do you think they've saved your ass once or twice?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think that they're absolutely worth it for the 30 or 35 bucks or whatever they are to buy them. The fact that they can actually grip even, you know, something like those flush mounted screws and stuff.
That's the most impressive part to me, I think.
Right. I mean, these things work great. You can see they're dirty. I've used them a whole bunch of times. I don't use the smaller ones too much, like unless I'm working with small electronics or something like that, like a phone or whatever. But these big ones, if you're a mechanic, I highly recommend picking them up. I got the Van Pliers scissors. I use these a good amount.
Those are nice and sharp.
Yep, they cut through pennies, like I think we put in a video. I'm not sure if that made it.
Nickels were just done too.
Oh, nice. Then you got the little clip popper pliers here.
Those are handy.
Yep, we got the right angle and then the 45s. Got these old pliers I got when I was a kid. These Sunex pliers, and the only reason they're not broken,
Sunex.
the only reason these aren't broken is because I've never fucking used them, because I'm not going to get started on that, but it's okay. This is cool. This is just a bunch of those tiny pairs of pliers. I keep it in this pouch. I got these years and years ago.
A little precision set.
Yeah, I ground this one down for getting pins out of connectors and stuff. See, they're real sharp and real small. So, they're just miniature versions. Moving over to the right, we have, let's see, Craftsman Lineman's pliers. Crimpers, these are great crimpers. I got these at Sears for 20 bucks. I got some Mac pliers, some of the only Mac tools I have. I really like these for hose clamps, and these are good for those little plastic clips, the ones you got to squeeze to pop up. I like them a lot. Then we got just a 3-piece snap-on plier set, just your basic slip lock pliers, the needle nose and the cutters. Got those when I first started. And then the high leverage pliers, these are great too. A little gear wrench pair of right angle needle nose. Those are good for hose clamps and stuff that's in a weird spot. Got some vice grips. I don't really use vice grips too much. I like using these to crimp off, like if I'm using the airlift, the overflow tube, or like crimping off brake hoses when I'm changing calipers, stuff like that. Got the drum brake tool. We've all seen that. And this is that e-brake cable tool. Really handy. Part number Bravo Charlie Tango 1050. Whole bunch of different brands make this now. But this takes those e-brake cable joiners apart. You know, those things could be really rusted in there, and without this tool it could be a real pain to get them out. I used to use the air hammer, now I just use this. And that actually, I have these Craftsman spreader pliers, I guess hog ring pliers. I use these for all kinds of different stuff. You can see they're getting a little loose and bent up, but these are great. I use these all the time.
I just got the LISLE, and I believe they're the same thing, just rebranded. So
yeah, they probably
very good.
slid this handle off and put on a
slid the
LISLE.
LISLE on.
But that's about it for the pliers.
All right.
Next up, we got wrenches. Everyone has wrenches. We all know how they work. We have the Craftsman metric from like 8 to 22, Craftsman standard set. Got the gear wrench flex heads. Those are nice. Got a whole bunch of stubby gear wrenches, metric and standard. This is the metrics, I think, and then the standards are half here and half there. A bunch of different assorted different ones. Gear wrenches. We have the flare nut snap-on wrenches down here. Those are nice. The Flank Drive Plus standards and metrics. I have the ratcheting Flank Drive Plus snap-on wrenches. These are my favorite wrenches ever. We've all seen them with a double box and 0-degree offset. I use these every day for all kinds of stuff.
Hey, you say 0 degree now.
That's right.
You said, what the hell would you say 0 degree for? Just call it offset.
That's what it's called.
But don't you have one of the new styles of the Snap-on? I wanted to show them that because Snap-on did redesign their ratcheting wrench, and it's actually, it's quite impressive.
Yeah, so this is, I ended up destroying my 13, so they gave me one of these. Alright, so this is the new setup. This is the old one here. I ended up destroying my 13mm old one, so they gave me a whole new one with the new design, see if I like it. This has, like, I think the 80-tooth ratchet gear mechanism inside, and this is just your regular, you know, ratcheting wrench. I like this a lot. The shape is kind of awkward, but it is a lot thinner up top for getting into tight spots. My one complaint with the new setup is that the switch is recessed in there. Like this one kind of hangs down so you can get it, which is both good and bad. You know, sometimes you can catch this and switch directions while you're going. This one, that doesn't do that, but it's a lot harder up in there to switch directions. So it's a minor complaint. The rest of the wrench is the same. It's still Flank Drive Plus. It looks the same, but that's the new updated snap-on ratcheting wrench right there.
Nice.
All right, 21.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So this is a platinum flex head, super long 13-15 ratcheting wrench. I only bought this one. You know, Bruce has the whole set and everything, and I always bust on him like, this is the only one you're ever going to need. And obviously, the other sizes do come in handy, but this is the only one I've ever needed, so.
For the most part, that really is. The only other one I use a lot is the 18 millimeter for the alignments and the postals, because they work perfectly to get in.
Yeah,
for the control arm.
Exactly, yep. So that's a cool wrench. Got some more gear wrenches and stuff back here. You have the big ratcheting ones here, the non-ratchet on one end, the ratcheting on the other.
Now on those there, it's 0 degree offset as well.
Yep.
But are they the same on both ends?
Yeah,
Are they the
size,
same
both
wrench,
ends.
one's ratcheting, one's not?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
And then this, this down here, you probably saw my little SK 11 millimeter wrench. Well, this one, my snap-on one, went for a nice 2-week ride on a customer's brake caliper bleeder. I left it, I don't know how I did this, but I left it hanging off a bleeder screw on a caliper on his rear brakes. And he took the car, drove it for 2 weeks. We couldn't get in touch with him, and we ended up, he's a student at a college nearby, and so he actually came back with his car, and it was still hanging on the bleeder after 2 weeks. And I don't know how I even managed to do that, but he came back. In the meantime, I just picked up this SK wrench of comparable size and stuff. So now this is a backup. Moving to the back of the drawer, all kinds of assorted little tiny wrenches and stuff, a distributor wrench. This is great. I just got this not too long ago.
Yeah, you guys gotta check this out and show them the graduate.
Adjustable. Yeah, it's got the size stamped in here. I mean, I think it's got standard on one side, maybe metric on the other.
Yeah, sorry about the focus, guys. I'm trying. It doesn't know where to go to, but there are marks there, and it shows you, like you said, metric and standard the size. So if you want 10 millimeter, you simply bring it to 10 millimeter, and that's where that's at. It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
and it's just $100.
Yeah, just right around $100, and they work great. They're really grippy. I mean,
yeah, they're very
serrated inside, and obviously it has this nice rubber grip on the end of it. So that's it. It's a chrome adjustable, and they have just a regular adjustable here, crescent wrench, then a Evercraft 1-inch snap-on 24 mil and 7/8. Then I have an 1.1 back here, and a super wrench. This one's kind of cool. I don't know where this came from, but it's 31/32 on one end and an 1.16 on the other. And I actually use this a lot for EGR tubes, on like Ford EGR valves and stuff. This is the right size for that.
I wish you had your big wrench.
Big wrench, yeah. Yeah, and that about does it for this drawer here. Moving on to the next one. Messy as shit. Oh, well. Good. All right, so this is probably one of the messiest drawers in my whole toolbox, and this is the electrical drawer with all kinds of different stuff in it. We'll start over in this corner. We have the snap-on test light with the old incandescent bulb in it, I think it's called. I don't know why I can't think today, but you know, this is great. I use this all the time. We have the memory saver cord from Blue Point. We have the scan module for my snap-on Verdict, an amp clamp, you know, different back probes and stuff like that. The remote for my TV, which I'll show you. These are nice. These are just Cornwell automatic wire strippers. They're the same. You can get them probably at
Harbor Freight. Oh, you got those from Cornwell?
Yep. Excuse me. And so these are great for, you know, just quick,
awesome, easy
stripping jobs. Got some memory cloth, a couple different spark testers. I have two of the same one, but the boot thing came off of this one.
Next time we do a daisy chain spark test like we do, we got to record that real quick.
That was fun. I got the old, this just basically tells you if you have spark. It doesn't load it or anything like that.
Line testing.
Yep. Then we have the SIR tools, precision screwdriver set. This does torques, triangles, all kinds of cool stuff. Ossenmacher fuel line and transmission line disconnect set. This is cool. 30-foot test leads. I use these all the time. They hold up real great.
If you don't have those and you like to do electrical work, definitely pick those up. You can get the 2 or 3 leads.
I think I went over these in the last video. These are the fuse savers. They're basically just circuit breakers you put in where a fuse goes that the fuse keeps popping.
Actually, open those up because it's a specialty tool and guys might like that.
All right.
If you guys have an issue and you're trying to diagnose something, you keep putting fuses in and they keep popping, so it makes it harder. You run out of fuses to diagnose. What you do is you plug these into the fuse spot, and every time it pops, you just simply click the button and resets it, so you don't have to keep you know, changing the fuses, and once you figure it out, you pull that out, and then you put your fuse in, you're good to go.
Yep, when it does your old standard fuses and mini fuses, they do make different adapters for it, so you can do the micro fuses, all that. And I just have a 15, a 10 amp, and a 20 amp adapter there.
Cool.
Moving right along, we have all kinds of different bolts. I keep all kinds of different bolts for doing different stuff. This is really good for, these are old head bolts out of a Chrysler, I think. They're good for putting engines onto engine stands. You got to have real long bolts hanging around for that. So I have a whole assortment of those. These you can use for popping brake drums and brake rotors off. They have a threaded hole. I got some rosin for soldering. These are cool little just fuse loops that I made for checking current draw across fuses, you know, if you're having like an intermittent problem or something. So this is for mini fuses. This is an old connector that just so happens to fit perfect. And then this one I just made with some spade terminals and some heat shrink and wire and stuff. So you can stick this in where the fuse goes and measure current draw pretty easily. They make
Pretty
stuff.
neat trick. You actually just taught me that the other day, and it's actually one of the most useful tricks I've learned. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, they do make tools that, you know, are that pretty much.
Fuse,
But,
I did see them, the fuse with the wire loop on it.
yeah,
And then you
so
just hook your amp clamp to it.
this was just a cheaper available way for me to do that.
Need it in a pinch.
Yep. Yeah, we have my butane soldering iron from Snap-on. I love that thing. It works great. I have a Power Probe 3, which I don't use too often, but, you know, if you need it, you need it. Got a roll of electrical tape. I'm going to make a nice test light out of this someday. Got some RTV. This is really good stuff. This Asian or Ison or however you say that.
Is that like Honda?
Yeah, it's basically like the Asian version of Honda Bond.
Oh, okay.
So, these are old forklift keys. Anyone that works on forklifts knows if you have one key, you can start pretty much any forklift.
That's how it
Which
is.
is
A lot of heavy machinery.
Yep. Let's see. In here we just have my Power Probe temperature probe.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I just picked this up the other day. You want to show them how that works?
Yeah, so it's pretty much, you have
We'll
two
show you
different,
guys how the specialty stuff works, so you know.
yeah, this is basically two different thermometers. It comes off of here and you can stick it right in your vents and you turn them on. And so this basically is like a differential thermometer, so you can see if this is hotter than this or vice versa. Then, I don't know if it's Bluetooth or radio waves or whatever, but it'll communicate. This is the probe that's built into this unit. This little house symbol indicates that that's this here. And then this will switch between probe 1 and probe 2. And so, you know, you can set this outside on your toolbox and stick these inside the vents inside the car. And you can see if, you know, the driver's side's hotter than the passenger side, whatever. This will give you all that information. And it was relatively cheap. I think
$70 for everything?
maybe even less than that. It came with number 1 here, and then I think it was maybe $18 for number 2. I think, yeah, it was probably right around $70.
Yeah, not bad at all for what it is.
So this is a real handy tool.
That's made by Power Probe.
Yep. And then I have some just chargers for laptops or whatever else, my scan tool, all that. And that's all in here. Moving along the bottom now, we have these Mac test leads. I got at a flea market. These are really nice because they have the banana jack adapters on them. You can probably see through the container, hopefully. And I have all kinds of T-pins and different stuff in there, so I like these a lot. Then we have the Verdict M2 meter. Phenomenal meter. I love this thing. This basically is like a Vantage built into one unit, and then it Bluetooths the scope readings, because it does graphing meter and does all that stuff on this screen, but if you Bluetooth it to the scan tool, it'll come up on the Verdict screen, so you have a 2-channel scope basically in something the size of a voltmeter, which is great. We got an old incandescent test light, got for $5 at Sears. All kinds of different test leads with alligator clips and the wire piercers. This isn't a great set of wire piercers, but I do use these quite a bit for testing. They basically just put a tiny, tiny little pinhole in the wire, and if you have some liquid electrical tape or whatever, you just dab over that when you're done. And this is basically the most non-invasive way to test. It's really good for finding broken wires too, because you can just keep moving along until you find the spot that's broken.
Just remember, guys, it is important that when you do use that you do hit it up with some liquid electrical tape.
Absolutely.
Or silicone or something. Just get that hole covered back up by any means necessary, because moisture will get into it and start corroding those wires.
Yeah, that's pretty much around here, you know, with all the salt and stuff, that wire will be green and broken and swollen up in a week. So Then we have the LED test light from Snap-on, 24 volt, heavy duty.
Nice test light.
Yeah, I mean, this is good, just basically, it has a LED display or whatever, so you can see the voltage on that wire. But in terms of loading the circuit, it's not great. That's why I like the incandescent ones better for loaded circuit testing. Some more leads, Snap-on leads and stuff. I have all kinds. I have the alligator clips, the thin back probe, wire ends and stuff like that. So all kinds of different ones for all kinds of different jobs. You never know what you're going to come across. So, and that about does it for the electrical drawer. Next up is this one.
Oh, here it is, guys. We haven't seen this in anyone else's toolbox tour, so I want to point this out first because he just got it. Now, small disclosure, we have not fucking focused this yet. No, we have not used this yet, so we can't give you a review on this. But I personally, and I think Bill is too, has yet to see anyone with this in their box, and this is the Texas Twister, and we will be showing you that.
Yeah, so
let's
just start right now with that, since Bruce gave us the intro.
Such a neat, if anything, it was worth the thought of the design of it. It's just such a cool tool, and I've been wanting it. And
so this is basically a slide hammer for your air hammer. You can see it has a couple different thread pitches and stuff on it. I'll show you with the air hammer here.
So you guys can get a general idea, because some of you guys are probably looking at like, what the hell is this thing?
So that just chucks into your air hammer like that, and then you can put whatever puller or whatever you're using on the other side, threads onto there. We all know there are different thread pitches and stuff for air slide hammers. So it comes with a whole array of different stuff, you know, for pulling off hubs or whatever else, seal pullers, bearing pullers.
Axles, put this behind the axle. I'll pull the axle out.
It comes with the thread couplers and stuff in here, and all kinds of nuts and stuff for maybe pulling hubs off or whatever they're thinking with that. So I am looking forward to using it. I haven't used it yet, but you know, once I do use it, we'll be sure to let you know how it performs. I'm pretty sure with an air hammer like this, it'll rip something apart. That's for sure.
Definitely curious.
Then down here we have all kinds of different stuff. A Snap-on infrared thermometer. I got that at the flea market. Got the airlift system. This is a great tool. I'm sure Bruce has gone over this at some point, but
not this one. This is the other one, guys. This is the alternative I was telling you about, where honestly, I like the Snap-on one. The more we use it, I like it. But this one here, for the price difference, this would be a much better route for you guys to go. It's got the universal fittings and stuff, and it's probably a good $100 cheaper than the Snap-on.
Yeah, and so that's basically how I fill every cooling system now. I got just a little gear wrench, power steering, pulley, puller, and installer. The Dremel, we've all seen a Dremel. We got 3 Snap-on torque wrenches. We have the Tech Angle, half-inch drive, and then these 2 are just the old click style. I'll just show you one of them because I'm sure we've all seen a torque wrench too, but you know, that's what that looks like. These are great. Use them every day. All kinds of different stuff. What else? Oh, we got the universal spanner wrench set. This is great for, you know, if you need a spanner wrench. You got all different size ends for it and stuff, and they have little extensions to put in here if you need to get into a hole, and then you can put your breaker bar or your ratchet right on the end of it. It's a great tool. Try to keep everything nice and clean. But next up we have the Snap-on long barrel cooling system pressure tester. They got all kinds of adapters, the little radiator caps, the small ones and the slightly bigger ones. You got your Ford and GM overflow bottle adapters. This is just a cap pressure tester. My boss was actually kind enough to give me this, so that fits right in there. And this thing's great because you know, it's real thin, so like you basically have to exert no effort to pressurize anything. So it's, you know, great. It's got the nice gauge right built into it. Snap-on logo on there, so very nice tool.
Part number for this is SBT
S27172.
SBT S272.
So that's cool. Safety seal tire plug kit. We patch tires here at this shop, so I don't use that often. Bubble flaring tool from Cornwell. Price is right on there. It's actually a very nice set for bubble flaring.
$65.95. Cornwall,
yeah.
Great prices.
I got my brake caliper tool for spinning in the emergency brake rear calipers. It's just your basic OTC set here. Some of these are double-sided, so you have different pin adapters and stuff. So.
It's a really nice set. You don't need a whole bunch of wrenches and stuff to operate it like mine.
Yeah. One unit.
So, there we go.
This is the quarter drive drawer. Got all kinds of quarter-inch drive stuff. I really like this. It's for like a little nut driver, but you can put a socket on it, so it's all sizes built into one. My quarter drive air ratchet. This thing's great. It's a Snap-on FAR 25A, and this thing is a little beast. I got the long handle quarter drive breaker bars, Craftsman and Snap-on, old Craftsman ratchet. I really like this, the sliding T-handle. A lot of guys don't use this kind of thing, but I really enjoy it. And then the flex head, and it's the locking flex head, so you can kind of find a spot where you like it and lock it in. So I like that. Quarter drive set, just basic metric stuff, 2 extensions, a universal, some sockets, and a ratchet. This is basically my favorite quarter drive ratchet. The semi-deep metrics, use those a good amount. A couple different turbo sockets and stuff for real small. Let's see, we have the low profile, super shallow Snap-on set. Don't use them too often, but when you need them, you definitely need them.
That's definitely a good attachment for them, this right here.
Yeah, you can put your little quarter-inch bits right in that, and you can spin them in with that. We have the extra long Snap-on flex head quarter drive ratchet, and the extra deep 10mm socket. I really like this thing. I use it all the time for torquing down water pumps on like timing belt jobs and stuff like that. So this is good to have around, no extension or anything needed.
This set was designed for clamps, for plumbing clamps on diesel turbos and stuff like that, because they have a special type of clamp that's really long, and that's what they're designed for, but there's a lot of different uses people have found for them.
Yeah, they're the clamps for like the boost hoses on like heavy duty trucks.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy, it comes in a set with 10 and 11. I only bought the 10 because that's the only one I really needed. I got a nice long Craftsman extension here. Long, like I guess it's 6-inch or whatever, Snap-on extension. You have these nice half-moon wrenches that I've probably only used like twice in my life so far, but they're good to have around just in case. We got some deep Craftsman sockets, metric and standard, some shallow 12 points. No, the shallow 12 points are here, the shallow 6 points are here, Craftsman. Different Allen wrenches and stuff. These I got at Pep Boys for like $5 for all 3 of them, but I really like this set because it goes all the way down to like T9, I guess, and they're tamper-proof, so they're good to keep around. We got those same Craftsman universal spline drive sockets and quarter drive, and we have the 12x125 tap and die in here. The tap's kind of hiding in the back, and so a lot of tap and die sets don't come with 12x125, so I went out and bought the Snap-on versions of those, and they're very nice. Let's see. Didn't show these. This is my Craftsman Professional quarter drive ratchet. Actually a really nice tool, and they're pretty cheap. The Snap-on universal sockets, metric, and I bought this SK socket set, pretty much just for like a travel set from doing side jobs. But the other good thing is this comes with 4.5mm, which the Snap-on set does not. It comes with 5.5 but not 4.5, and this set here does come with that. And that's about it for the store. So this is a hammer drawer. I'm sure we all know how to swing a hammer. I got all kinds of different ones. Got a 6-pound sledge from Blue Point. I like that. I just got these maybe a few months ago, these Wilton bash hammers, I call them.
How do you feel about those?
I really like them. Really like them.
Like them better than your Snap-ons? I guess they're 2 different styles.
Yeah, they kind of do a different job, but they make a 12-pound version of this. I mean, it's got a huge 12-pound head on it, maybe like a 36-inch handle. I'm really looking to get one of them. I'm pricing them out right now, but
yeah, Napa.
Yeah.
I never noticed. That's awesome. And then you got the ball peen. I thought they were just all sledges.
Yeah. This is
awesome.
Ball
Those are
peen.
good for rotary.
Yep. I use that. I got this brass hammer. I use that all the time. non-sparking, all that stuff for taking out fuel pump lock rings and stuff. Got some brass punches. Got this nice bronze snap-on punch that my friend polished up for me. Shined it right up.
Yeah, it looked nothing like that when you got it. It actually looked silver.
It looks almost too nice to use, but I have used it a few times, as you can see. And then regular brass punches. We got this really nice indexable seal puller, which I just figured out how to use not too long ago. It kept slipping and popping out when I tried to use it, but it turns out you got to lock these knurled knobs down so it doesn't spring back. Then you're good to go.
No, I know that might sound like we're stupid, but trust me, when you use it, you would never realize that you had to spin those to lock it, because you just pull down on the two tabs and then it indexes the claw. But it kept popping out, and you never realized that, or we never realized that we had to spin these to tighten it to lock them in, because it was spring loaded, so we figured the spring would pop back up and hold the teeth, but not the case.
Yeah, just goes to show that you can be smart and still be stupid. So we got that. We got these STYLUS products. This is for holding like power steering pulleys or whatever on Hondas, or just like a big beefy spanner wrench. This is for water pump bolts. This thing's really nice for popping fan clutches off. This is a claw hammer back there. Don't really use that around here. And we have the biggest, baddest screwdriver that I own right here. You know, I got all kinds of little tiny tools over here. Kept this as a joke. It's a piece of throttle cable. It looks like a little hammer. So I bring that out all the time just to mess with people. And actually, speaking of little hammers, this thing is great. I use this for driving in seals and stuff like that. And you wouldn't think that, I don't even know what this is, like an 8-ounce hammer, 8-ounce dead blow. You'd think this would be useless, but it's actually a very useful tool to have. I highly recommend it. Then we just got your regular snap-on dead blow hammers, the big one, the medium one, and then the ball peen dead blow. And that about does it for the hammers. Bottom drawer, and we keep going. Bottom drawer here.
Oh, he just got this. I forgot all about it.
This basically only houses the hub grappler. It's obviously quite a massive box.
That boy out.
It weighs like 80 pounds, so you got to be a real man. Slap this.
I spent a small fortune on this, but when you have one of these, it makes life so much easier.
I'll tell you what, if you're a flat rate tech and you do wheel bearings, get one of these, because you can do them right on the car. It's great. You know, it comes with a nice little manual and stuff, so it'll tell you what adapters to use, even little pictures for those of us that can't read. You know, it's a real nice kit. I mean, it is pretty expensive. You know, you can find them online for something like $500, but like I said, if you're a flat rate guy, this is a must. And even if you're working an independent shop like us, it makes life a lot easier. You get all kinds of different adapters. These are good for driving in seals and axle bearings and stuff. You can use them for all kinds of washers and stuff like that. It comes with a nice outer race puller, so you can pull it off the hub. I find this, I ground the edges down so I could actually fit it under there. From the factory, it was kind of long and rounded over, so I think that flattening them out is actually like a must if you want to use this. Once you do that, it does work pretty well. And that about does it for the toolbox. I'll just show you what I have on top here quick. We got some flashlights, you know, this little snap-on cordless light. Everyone's seen that everywhere. This is a nice Astro light.
It's a great light.
Yeah, it's dimmable, so you can go all the way from like that all the way up to super bright, which I won't do on camera.
Got a magnet with a flexible end on it.
Yep,
this
you can lock that down.
Very, very handy light. Probably, I'd say it's one of my favorite lights. I don't own it yet, but it's very awesome light.
Yep. And then we got the work mat up here. That obviously is a mess because I have all kinds of nuts and bolts and clamps and old lug nuts and all kinds of stuff up here. But you know, if I'm ever doing anything up here, I'll just slide this forward and then work on that so I don't crap up the Rhino line top. Over here, we have my nice pen and pocket screwdriver collection. But this is a real star. This is the TV that I have hooked up to my Verdict, which is in the cabinet here. It's Bluetooth, so you can plug the module right into the car, stand here. It's got the mouse, and you can use your scope, guided component test for pulling up pinouts or connectors. Everything's all right here at your fingertips. This is extremely convenient.
Very rarely does he ever pull out the scanner. He just pulls out the dongle.
Yeah, exactly. That scan module down in the electrical drawer. So
the module, and then the scanner just stays tucked away in the cabinet.
Yeah, and obviously if you go on a road test, you just
what's the range on that, you think?
I think they say it's like 75 feet, but here in the shop it'll go like, 1 or 2 bays over from my bay. So it's definitely a pretty nice setup I have here. That way I'm not like, holding something in my hand. If I have to sit in the car, then I can just take it right off the dock and bring it in the car. It's a nice setup. And that does it for the toolbox. Alright, so this is the inside of my Snap-on Epic locker we have here. A couple different things up here. You gotta have your McDonald's coupons in your toolbox. It's got a little black book with some info in it that I wrote down. Milwaukee bits, like Works bits, Phillips, all that stuff in there. The Snap-on AC orifice tool I think we showed in the last tour. We got the LISLE Ford spark plug 5.4 remover for the broken spark plugs. That's the only tool you really don't want to bring out, but it's good to have. Another LISLE power steering puller. I like this kit better than my gear wrench one, but I have broken it a couple times. So then we have my valve cap collection. I got all kinds of different ones just that I keep around because people lose them. You want to have all 4 of them matching. Phoenix injection tool I keep up here. We have a shop one set up for .5, and then this is mine that I set up for. I use for .3 and .4 brake fluid for bleeding brakes out. A couple ratchet straps, some spray paint, some cookies, all necessities. I got a magnetic tray with some old grenade pins that I'm keeping in there for some reason. I'm not too sure why. This is nice. I got this off our USA Tool Guy. It's a Bluetooth speaker. This thing gets loud, and if I'm here by myself, I crank it up and I'll be jamming out to this. But I don't want to bother everyone with my music taste. Otherwise, what else we got in here? We got a coolant tester. You can test the temperature protection of your coolant. Of course, it's dripping all over the place. Good to see I cleaned that out. Knife sharpener. This is nice. It's got all kinds of different surfaces on it, so you can really get a nice surface finish out of your sharpening and all that. Air tool oil. I never used to do that, but I've blown up enough air tools to where I'm starting to do that. It does seem to be working.
Me too.
Let's see. I got the Snap-on long screwdrivers. I really only put these out here because the cabinet came with this nice screwdriver holder, so I figured I will put something in there, so I put those in there. Just fill up some flatheads all the way from short to super long. I got a little hook here for my bungee that holds up the suction cups for window regulator jobs.
Done a video on these guys. Hope you guys remember these. Very, very useful tool. I never knew about these until I seen Bill with them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great tool for when you're doing window regulators because it holds the window up for you. Great tool.
And I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, I used to use duct tape to do that same job. And cleaning that car up afterwards would take like twice as long as doing the job.
Yeah.
So for the $20 I paid for those, absolutely worth it. We got some cool old wrenches I'll show you guys here. I'm sure some of you guys have seen them, but you don't see a lot of these hanging around. My friend Pat gave them to me, and they're not something that I use just because I'm sure I'd break every bone in my hand, but they're pretty novel, pretty cool.
Like universals.
Yep. And then I got my, this is for putting in axle seals on like Ford Escapes, because they're those strange like 2-step process ones, I think. So I keep that hanging around. It comes with them usually, but I just keep it hanging there. So I have one. This is the bottle opener for your beers and stuff.
Not just for looks.
Exactly. That's all off the clock, of course. I would never ever consume alcohol while on the clock. Then we're going to move on to the inside here. I got my battery chargers. This nice Napa mug. I'll move out of the way. The Milwaukee charger. If I did
Does this slide out?
Oh yeah, it does.
There you go.
Yeah. So this will do 12 volt and 18, but like I said, I don't have 12 volt tools, so. Just use it for the 18 volt. I got some keys to a bunch of my different cars I have, lighter fluid for my Zippo. The Snap-on charger, this does the 7.2 volts battery and the 14.4s. There's the Verdict on his little docking station. So you can see he's all wired up with the mouse and everything else. There's a nice hole right in the back that I have run out to the TV. So that's where he lives. Owner's manual for my toolbox, of course. little books and stuff. These are cool. These are little Snap-on model trucks and cars and stuff that I saw on the truck, so I just had to pick them up.
Are these all Snap-on?
Just these two are. These are just, I don't even...
Yeah, just little cars.
But
pretty cool.
Cool little muscle cars. And this is my flashlight I keep in my pocket. It's a Streamlight ProTac 2AA.
Another tool that's been on some adventures.
Oh yeah, this has gone on little vacations in customers' cars for, you know, a month at a time. It always comes back, and this used to be nice black anodized aluminum, but, you know, I've thrown this thing on the ground so many times that, but it still works, you know, I still use it every single day. Keep it right in my pocket. Got some Zippo flints and all kinds of other stuff. This drawer is mostly for paperwork. I have all my certification paperwork in here, and like all the classes I go to, I keep all the manuals and the books that give you all my tool receipts. I got my tire inflator in here. I was holding out on getting one of these for the longest time, but let me tell you, it's so convenient to just have this all in one unit. Let's see, we got this I got from our Cornwall guy. It's a Bluetooth speaker hat.
This is pretty neat, fellas. Pay attention.
I'm sure all you know, computer savvy guys are all like, those have been out forever, but I never heard of these. And he comes in and says there's a hat that you put on and you can hook your phone up to it and it plays music that no one else can hear. I'm like,
guys, it's got a speaker for each ear.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
One
all right, when you put it on your head, these go over your ears, so, and you can still hear as well, like the ambient noise going around.
And you know, they don't like us wearing headphones here for obvious reasons, but this is a good compromise because you can hear conversations and then you can hear your music at the same time. Then I got all kinds of different safety glasses. I got the yellow ones, the clear ones. I got some dark tinted ones back here. My wallet, all that stuff.
No, you forgot.
I'll get there. I just got my little tread depth gauge from Snap-on here. This is nice, but I have busted the plastic off of it, so I try to be careful with it now. These are cool. Just when I go to the range shooting, they're nice noise canceling earmuffs, but then you can turn them on and then you can hear, once again, hear people talk and it'll cancel out loud noises.
You can also hook music into them as well.
Yes, you can. Yep. This is just my road, like, you know, running monitors or parking lot diagnostic tool here. You just pull codes. You can get a limited amount of global OBD live data. You can run monitors. This is great. It's got a color screen. You just plug it in, hit the IM button. Readiness monitors are all right there within seconds. So this was like, I think, $70. I'd say this is worth it. And then to go into one of my pride and joy products here. This is the Bosch MasterTech VCI. You can flash program, you know, all kinds of different vehicles with it. It'll do, like, you know, Hondas, Hyundais, Ford, Chevys, Chryslers, you know, you name it, it pretty much does it. And one of my favorite parts about this box, because, you know, you got this tool, and it's like, you know, this big, and it comes in this giant box. I'm thinking, what the fuck am I going to do with that? Well, this compartment up here conveniently houses the laptop. So you can have your laptop with all your cables and stuff, got little cable spots down here, and it's all housed in one box. It's excellent. And I'm real happy with the tool so far. I've only used it a few times here. I haven't had it too long, but in the times that I've used it, it has performed very well. And you should also, the other thing is that you should have a designated laptop for flashing. You know, a lot of people say you should have a designated laptop for every manufacturer, but for those of us that can't afford to have 20 different laptops, that's not feasible. So I just have my one designated laptop for that, all the cables.
At least you have a designated laptop.
Yeah, I'm doing it as
best as you can.
That's right.
I mean, really, if you think about it and you think about there's no need to have a laptop. I mean, you know what I mean? You open your different programs. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see why they would say that, but really, if you think about it, there's just...
Well, it's pretty much because, like, every manufacturer has a different set of specs that their laptop needs to meet. Like, Chryslers are notoriously obnoxious for having stupid specifications for their computers and getting things to work. So if you're good with computers, which I'm not, but my friend is, so he helps me out, you can make it work with one laptop.
Right, yeah, if you have it all decked out and it's at maximum, you know what I mean, like maximum specs or whatever, it's going to work for everything.
Right, and so it's, you know, that works just fine, and I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Moving on down, we have my MAP gas bottle for that little torch I showed you earlier. We have the TEKTON jump starter. I think we've shown this in another video, but I still use this all the time. It charges my phone, the Bluetooth speaker, everything. Let's see. Oh, you guys will probably get a kick out of this. Sure, a lot of you have seen it already, but you know, I'm a kind of a nerd kind of guy. I like comic books and movies and books and all that stuff. So they had a snap-on Iron Man welding mask, and I had to have it. I think it's absolutely awesome. Even as a welding mask, it's very excellent because it's auto-dimming, so you know you can tweak it and set it up so that you can see clear, and then once you start welding, it goes dark instantly, and it worked great. And we actually watched.
I was gonna say, don't let them bullshit you. It's a solar eclipse watcher.
Yeah, this is, everyone else got all those free ones on the internet. No, I went out and $400 eclipse viewing screen right here. So I'll set this down for now. We got a pair of welding gloves that I had to get in red and gold so they can match the helmet. So I look like a real dork when I'm welding. But we got the Milwaukee 18-volt heavy-duty grease gun.
That'll lube your girlfriend up real nice.
Oh yeah, and this is actually really nice because you can set it to how many pumps you want in there. So if you really want to jam something full of grease, set it to 50.
50 pumps.
Keep shooting grease forever.
Oh, so if you set it to 2 and you hold that trigger, it's only going to give you 2 pumps?
It'll just go wow, wow.
Oh, okay.
So there's almost no thought involved, which is always nice when you have a tool that does all the thinking for you. Oh, of course I'm joking. But you have a snap-on thermos mug here. It looks like a socket. A hat, the spill-free funnel. I think we've done a video on that before.
Yeah, I think I did. Well, quick one.
Yeah, it's a quick one. This is basically put on your radiator cap, and you have all different adapters. So when you're burping air out of your cooling system, it doesn't make a huge mess.
Basically, if you don't have an airlift, this is the second best route to go because it doesn't make a mess. And even if you do have an airlift, it still comes in handy if you don't completely drain the system.
Yeah, it's still good to have around. Now we're moving on to the drawers. We got, excuse me, the OTC ball joint press kit here, which has been supplemented by a couple little odds and ends. We've all seen a ball joint press, but you know, I find that for the most part, that's all the adapters I need, other than those weird cards where you need other ones. But you know, this is a pretty good set. These are pretty cool. I can't remember if I had these in the last video or not.
No, you didn't. You just got those not too long ago. Awesome set. Awesome sauce.
So these are snap-on air hammer adapters. This one's never been used because I absolutely destroyed the first one of these. I think I still even have it. So that's what it looks like when you use it for the wrong thing. But so it comes with 3 different ones. You have a long one.
Did it come with that replacement, or did you get that replacement?
I had to buy it. These are not warranted.
Okay.
So it comes with 3 different lengths. You know, your short, mediums in here, and then the real long one.
Do you remember the cost on that tip, roughly?
On the tip itself, it wasn't much. It was less than like $10, I think.
Okay.
But what's great about it is you have 3 different materials too. You have aluminum, which I just showed you. This I think is rubber, so it's non-marring.
Yeah, it's hard rubber.
And then the last one that I keep on the long one is it's nylon. So I mean, you can really, I mean, once again, you can't go using this on steel because you're just going to ruin your tool immediately. But if you need to impact something soft and you don't want to destroy it, you can use these. And I really like that it comes with the different lengths as well. So, and it comes in this little bag. I'm not a huge fan of the bags. I prefer the hard case.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, that's just me. It takes up less room this way though. Then we have the compression tester, the Mighty Vac compression tester. We all know what those do. Vacuum gauge, fuel pressure gauge, a couple different adapters I have, a set of Fowler calipers. These are excellent crimping tools. I don't know, have you done a video on these, Bruce?
I don't know, I gotta see what they are.
I'll show you.
Oh yeah, I did a quick one on the normal standard one, but these ones are interchangeable.
Yep, and so this kit's great because it comes with all different adapters and jaws and stuff for all kinds of different connector ends and stuff.
Pretty much, I think, what are these, the double barrel?
Yeah.
Double barrel crimps.
And so these are the ones I use the most on. Those are for those ones, the insulated pins for connectors. You can crimp wires right on there, which is fantastic. So we have that tool. Let's see if I can get it back in there without destroying the box like I did that other one. There we go. Now it's on. I mentioned these extractors before. This is what they call the master set, right?
And these are warranted.
Yeah, that surprised me. I have broken the two littlest ones, but you know, I find that really this bottom row are the only ones that I ever need around here. That's not to say you don't need these elsewhere, but these are really handy to have around.
I think the biggest one I've ever used was that one there, and that was on a big dump truck.
Okay.
Nothing automotive or regular automotive.
So that's those, and they are warranted, which is cool. Got my Blue Point double flaring tool for making brake lines. I've worn out the yoke in that one probably 2 or 3 times now. You know, I keep replacing it because I really like the tool. Moving on down. This is where I have mostly bits and stuff. I have my old impact sockets, the Craftsman Evolves. This one still has a lug nut stuck in it because I just didn't feel like driving it out of there. But we have the 5-point tamper-proof torque set here, which I never thought I'd use, but I did use it the other day on a mass airflow sensor on a Volkswagen. So I thought that was cool because I actually...
You needed the tamper-proof part?
Yeah. I don't even know if they have non-tamper-proof 5-point torques. I could be wrong, but now these are phenomenal. These are VIM tools, the triple squares. You've probably seen them in, you know, other videos from like Humble Mechanics.
Oh, these are like my Macs, the Mac ones I just showed you the other day.
Right.
Okay.
And these are excellent. They're really short, so you can get into tighter spots with them. And I've used them on the impact a bunch of times, and they hold up great. I believe they do warranty them to some extent, but I haven't broken anything from them yet. And this kit, I think you can pick up on Amazon for like 30 or 40 bucks at most. So if you work on German cars, highly recommend it. What else? We have my nice old Blue Point Allen socket set. Really nice. I got these when I first started, and they're holding up great. I've never broken one, and you can see I've used the crap out of a bunch of them. I just got these not too long ago. They're Cornwell Torx Plus, things like seat belts and like Mazda timing chain cam sprockets and stuff. Use Torx Plus.
You guys notice the ends, the points aren't as sharp as the regular Torx. They're more
they're
flat
yep,
rather than
squared off.
Pointed.
So really happy with this set. We have the Matco Torx and inverted Torx, well, I think it has some long Allens in there as well. I've used these a whole bunch. It comes with tamper-proof and regular Torx and inverted Torx. And then I just threw in these Allen sockets for whatever reason. But really like this set. If I'm going somewhere I need to bring Torx sockets, I'll bring this with me because it's very nice. Moving right along here. Can't skip these. These are the axle poppers from Steck. These for CV axles. You can drive them right in between the inner CV joint and the transaxle, and it'll just pop them right out. You just smash this in with a hammer, and you got to be kind of careful so you don't ruin the seal or the transmission case. But you know, these are great, and it comes with a little shim for when they're sticking out a little further. Next door down, I believe, has this stuff in it. We have the Van Plier Phillips screw extractor set here. I've actually used those working on my bike at home, and you know, it comes in handy. This thing I saw Eric O has in his South Main Auto channel there, and this thing is a monster. I mean, you can cut through, I mean, it comes with, I think, a 4-inch wheel on it normally, and with a 4-inch wheel brand new, you can slice through an exhaust pipe like it's not even there. I mean, it's a monster. So I don't bring this one out too often just because it does it makes a lot of noise and it's a little too powerful for normal use, but I like it a lot. We got some oil filter sockets and stuff for the Toyota filters and the European ones, and then I have this Blue Point generic master set, whatever that means. This is a cool tool. This is for the Ford and Mazda 4-cylinders for taking off chains or timing belts. You put this on top of the valve cover, and that locks in the ends of the cams. There's little slots, and you can slide this in there, and it holds it at top dead center for you. And then you have these, there's 2 different styles. There's a long one and a short one. There's a little plug you take out of the engine block, and you thread this in there when it's at TDC, and this actually locks the crankshaft from turning as well. One piece of advice I can give you, I don't know from experience, but I'd imagine if you forgot to take this back out when you're done, there would be big trouble. So, all right, and we have a set of Blue Point micrometers here.
I don't break them out too often, but they're good for, you know, measuring bearings and stuff like that. And a set of bleeder wrenches, just because they wouldn't fit in my normal wrench drawer. These are VIM tools as well. Really happy with these. They're 6-point, and they have different angles on them and stuff. So you can get right on the bleeder, and it grips real well, and it's got a nice angle to it for if they're in a weird spot. So we have those. And the last drawer of the whole box, this has my snap ring plier set from Lang. All kinds of different snap ring pliers. Use them for everything from ball joints to wheel bearings to transmission stuff to everything. So really happy with that. Got my steering wheel puller. This have a crappy little 3-jaw puller that actually, I'll call it crappy, it actually does the job very well. This is for the GM steering columns to take that little circlip off when you're changing a turn signal switch or a lock cylinder or something. That comes with a couple different adapters here. Got my snap-on spare voltmeter. I sent my Verdict M2 meter out to get serviced not too long ago, so I picked this up, and it's just your basic digital multimeter, auto ranging. Does the job real well, and comes in this nice little pouch thing, so I keep him down here. We got the snap-on impact driver set. This is a bigger set that comes with all kinds of different sockets and stuff in it.
Great set to have. This is the upgrade to my set. My set just comes with this, and then a few of these. This come with the impact sockets and other stuff. He's always a lifesaver because he's always got an extra bit on hand for that number 3 Phillips that we both break all the time. And whether he breaks one or I break one, he's always got one on hand, and he always replaces mine until snap-on comes, so it's very helpful.
And that's a good tip for all you guys that have this set, is just, you know, take the time and, you know, spend a little bit of money. Just buy all the bits in this set, and then they're lifetime warranty. So you just keep them in here, and if you're in the middle of a job and you break a tool, you can just fix it right in the bench vise and move on and keep going. Warranty when the snap-on.
That number 3 goes all the time.
That's like, yeah, that skinny number 3 is always the dead one. But this is just an Irwin tap and die set, metric. I have a set of standard taps at home, but I don't find myself using them too much, so I just kept it in my garage at home. Then last up, we have
another great tool.
Yes, the LISLE fan clutch air hammer tool. And so this comes with this, so you put in your air hammer. And actually, I have a funny story for you. I was using this wrong.
I don't know if it was wrong.
I was using it in my own way.
In his own, yeah.
And so, you know, you put this on the fan clutch nut, and then I would take it, and I would just put this right in here, and then you would, you know, knock it loose. When you knock it loose, the wrench goes flying off. So I was showing this to Bruce one day, and he goes, oh, well, why don't you just take this, and then just flip it over like that? And now, the wrench can't come out. I said, well, Jesus Christ, I never figured that out. I've had this thing for like 3 years. I never noticed. So once again, you can be smart and still be stupid. So the one I find myself using the most is 36, but you know, this has every size pretty much you're ever going to come across on a fan clutch. I know the BMWs I think use that little one, and then your heavy duty trucks and stuff will have the big ones. But I think that about does it for my toolbox. So that about does it for my toolbox, and I'll see you guys next time.
Alright guys, so that concludes Bill's toolbox tour. We hope you guys like going through the box as much as we like showing it to you. And stay tuned because we're going to be doing mine next. Maybe next weekend, who knows, we'll figure it out. And really hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys in the next video.
It's like a dance, the way that you shake your head in full denial of the truth. Didn't get a chance to say it.